All these friends will begin to grow in strength inside of you until you begin to recognize them as friends. And as you recognize them as friends, you'll about faint with shock to see that all your life you've listened to liars. And where were they? Right inside you. You thought your friend was a liar. He is. But that's not your enemy. The enemy is the lie in you that likes to associate with that man, with that woman, because you feel comfortable. Two devils always feel comfortable with each other. Or two angels always feel comfortable. That is, two right ideas. The angel wants nothing to do with the devil and vice versa, right? Don't you sense that, by the way, inside of you, that this is true? Especially when you're in conflict inside of you, you know you're going to have to make a decision one way or the other, aren't you? You're going to have to make the decision, for example, to suppress your anger and pretend it isn't there over what someone said to you or something that happened to you out there. You're going to have to suppress it, or you're going to have to simply see that you're angry, right? Isn't that a different thing, to see the anger than to suppress it and lie about it to yourself? And you want to lie about it to yourself because you're not an angry person. You're trying to tell yourself, and yet you're boiling inside, and you get all these headaches and can't sleep night. What we're saying is this: if we're tired enough and want to change ourselves, and are tired of being depressed, tired of being in despair, then we can be so wide awake all day long that when we must make a choice, we can make a choice to call upon the right parts of us who will always respond, and you will feel the rightness. Do you know, the rewards, there's no way I can explain the rewards in a right feeling inside of you, which is not the same as a false feeling of life, which we have discussed many times in this class. A false feeling of life being when you get the raise. A false feeling of life when you get the woman, or you get rid of the woman, whatever it is. Where you get an exciting feeling connected to your personal vanity and connected with your wish to keep the haunted house, keep building the haunted house. The thrill you get out of putting a brick of truth in place in the castle will give you a different attitude, a different feeling, a good one. And there'll be no mistaking it at all. And then you'll be rightly hungry for more of that. Conclusion, and then I'll stop and we'll have a break. Your project for this whole week is to remain awake as long as you can, when you're alone and when you're with other people, so that you can hear the two voices clamoring inside of you, the voice of darkness and the voice of truth. And because you want to stop being a pain to yourself, you want to be whole, you want to be decent, you want to change the kind of a human being you are, you can hear both voices calling to you, and you can turn your ear away from the false one, which can lie to you and be very attractive, by the way, and you don't even know the tricks that your lying voices can give to you. You don't know the tricks yet. You'll learn them. And you'll turn your ear toward the right one that says, look, have the courage to listen to what I'm telling you, even if other people get mad at you, even if you have to lose the familiar way of life. No matter what you have to go through, listen to what I'm telling you, and I will guide you out at last to the right place. At this point, you're doing a marvelous thing for yourself. You're entering the struggle of life consciously. Before, there was no battle. There was no battle because the devil had you 100%. If a slave is 100% under the domination of the master with the whip, there's no battle. All he has to do is beat the slave, and he falls down to the ground defeated and miserable. There's no battle. the slave life that we've lived up to this point is beginning to rebel. Not in hatred, but in understanding that it's not necessary to be a slave any longer. You don't have to be. And I'll conclude with this. If you want to continue to be a liar, then continue to be a liar to the day you die. So you be afraid of life and afraid of death. If you want to begin to be honest, then you should get down on your knees and thank God that He exists to give you the truth that makes you free. The only thing that will give you the good cheer, the permanent good cheer, the 24-hour good cheer, 12 months of the year good cheer, are these truths and nothing else. All other cheer is phony, and you know it. The cheer of having your familiar wife, husband, friend, companion around. That is no thrill at all. That's a pain. It's a pain because you're sacrificing yourself to that person. Don't you feel it when you're in a wrong relationship with another person? Well, let's expand that a little bit. We'll make it a second project of the night. You begin to be aware of when you are in the wrong place. And that could be physically or psychologically or both. You could be engaged in a phony, shallow conversation and remember what I just said and suddenly become aware that you're in the wrong place inwardly. You have no business standing there talking to that person because he or she conned you in it, because he or she is lonely, trying to drain you and use you, and you feel guilty and ashamed that you want to live your own life. If you'd paid attention to what we talked about in blabbermouthery alone, you would understand that the only thing you owe to any other human being is for you to be an awakened, decent human being and nothing else. But if you're not awakened and if you're not decent, you won't be able to do this because you'll have ideas about decency instead of decency itself. And you've set yourself up again to getting taken by that person in a small way or a large way. And a man's foes shall be those of his own household. You can take that both socially and psychologically. Your relatives are your worst enemies if you want to wake up. They don't want to wake up. And your foes of your own household could be these dark enemies inside that we talked about earlier that you're calling on to rescue you. You're calling on darkness to keep you from being afraid of the dark. Add the following to your studies. I want you to notice indeed how it is an absolute final fact that we assemble with those we resemble. The evil parts in us like the evil parts in another person, for example. But to make it a broad picture at the start so that you can see it better, you watch television, live news programs, for example, or watch down at the office. Watch as you're walking down the street, groups of people talking together. And you'll see that devils are never happy unless they're with other devils. You know, I'm using the word devil very clearly People who are lost are never happy unless they're with other lost people, playing the same gambling games, telling the same dirty jokes, sitting around playing poker and drinking beer. They're never happy unless they are together because they use each other as alibis. Why, that man over there at the head of the poker playing table with a big drink on his side, why, he's one of our great senators. But he's a regular fellow. He's not afraid to come down here and have a night with the gang. He's a great man like that. He's going to introduce a new bill, and you know what the new bill is? It's for your benefit. That's why you like him, huh? If he was against the bill, you'd hate him, but you'd still fawn toward him. Nothing is more dreadful when a pack of devils get together and call themselves angels. Woe unto the world, woe unto you if you're that stupid as to believe in it. You know why? You, stupid you, are the next victim, and you don't have brains enough to see it. And the reason you don't have brains enough to see it is because you're one of the devils yourself. You think the devil is ever going to see himself? He can't see himself. That automobile sitting out in front there, do you think it knows it's an automobile? It's a mechanical machine. Do you think it has any capacity or desire to say, I am an automobile? It's dead. We're trying to develop the one small life part inside of us that can say, my God, I've been a machine all my life, wrecking everything I run into, including my own fenders and running boards and roof and everything else that they hit. You stop protecting yourself. You stop protecting yourself from seeing what you are really like. And you protect yourself with false ideas that you immediately bring up into your mind when your falseness is challenged. Oh, I'm not a liar. I'm not a hypocrite. As long as you're doing that, you will remain a liar and a hypocrite and as dead as that automobile out there. You have the possibility of changing from being an automobile to being a conscious human being if you will listen and learn. This is the fact. Those of you who don't come back to these meetings, you'll have to just go back out into the lost life that you have now, that you have when you first came into this meeting tonight. You'll have to go out and continue to be in one of the most dreadful types of torment. Everybody, not just you, of course. One of the most dreadful types of torments a human being can ever find himself in, which is trying to convince himself that a lie is the truth. You'll never succeed. You'll only succeed in getting migraine headaches and sleepless nights and fears and tears. You have one chance to change everything. And it all, you know what it all depends on? Both of you, those of you who are new and those of you who are old. It depends on whether you're listening to the truth I'm telling you or whether you're listening to the own devils inside of you tonight. That's what everything depends on. I know that. I don't have any responsibility for what you do at all. I have the responsibility for telling you the truth, and there my responsibility ends. You will make a choice. Every one of you in this room will make a choice. You've been making it, as a matter of fact, ever since I started talking. Choice of whether you want to continue to live in your misery, in your darkness, or whether you're going to begin to have just 1 ounce of courage, which is all you have and all you need to have. 1 ounce of courage to begin to continue to explore everything that you've heard tonight. Don't you listen to those devils inside you or outside you. And when you no longer have the devils inside you, the devils outside of you won't have a chance to lure and tempt and decoy and destroy you anymore. You are weak and you are lost. You have a chance to be strong and to find yourself. The choice is yours.